The security situation in the Niger Delta. We are all aware that the security situation in the Niger Delta is a culmination of so many factors. It's not something that started today. It's been going on for a very, very long time. The security agencies have tried various methods, working with the international oil companies, with the state governments. Entities have been created like the Ministry of the Niger Delta, the NDDC, the Amnesty Program. Nothing seems to be working because the resolve that is required from those people inhabiting those areas, the resolve required, they've not been able to actually help the security agencies to solve this problem. Everything is about intelligence. Now, people go about vandalizing pipelines and other things. For as long as the security agencies are shielded from getting the information, as long as the oil companies, oh yes, obviously there will be collaborators, undoubtedly, but the best way to deal with this situation is to work with the security agencies, the intelligence agencies, and also self-help, in the sense that each small community needs to get the type of information it needs to block the emergence of these activities. Let me just inform you that the Ministry of Niger Delta, as well as the Ministry of Petroleum Resources, and these other entities that I've mentioned, right now they've converged. They're working on something. They're trying to use a method that has not been used before. I'm not at liberty to say what, but we're hoping that before the end of the first quarter of next year, there will be a significant improvement. De-radicalization, reintegration, and rehabilitation. This is usually a phase in asymmetric conflict, especially where you have a large number of people who have participated in murderous activities, criminal activities, who are willing to sheath their swords, lay down their arms, and as long as it is sincere, it is genuine. Again, there's no gauge to measure what is in a man's heart. You need to work on it consistently. And this is where you require the effort of the local community, the efforts of the experts, religious leaders, traditional leaders, bulamas, bales, whatever. They need to be involved in this. Obviously, like you said, there will be those people, those fringe elements, who will bounce back to their old ways. It happens everywhere. It is up to the wider society, the local communities, to spot those people and then bring them back. So it's not a very, very straightforward thing. It's something that you nurture over time before you get to the promised land. The intelligence community, of course, is aware of these characters because there's a stratification or compartmentalization. There's a level of involvement. There are some who are just sympathizers. There are some who are just noisemakers, and there are some who are active participants, violent people, murderous people, some who have cross the Rubicon in terms of being addicted to, substances and helping them is going to be quite a while. Now, the issue of the other parts of the country, the question of amnesty, again, this is a political decision that can only be taken by the political leaders at the local, state level to decide. It's beyond us, the operatives. Today, and I'm just coming from the President's Parley with the participants of Course 44 of the National Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies. The paper they presented to government basically on the need to strengthen the local governments. The local government is the most critical component of government. For as long as it is bereft of autonomy, for as long as it is emasculated, for as long as it has been driven underground and it is not functional, a lot of things will follow. The harder we try to solve the problem of insecurity, the more aggressive it becomes at the local level, because these elements keep popping out of the local, government levels. Before they reach areas that they are not supposed to reach, they must have, manifested in many ways at the local level. It is extremely important. I know there are some arms of government that are also working to see how the local government can be strengthened. Obviously, there will be vested interests, there will be resistance, but the only way in which we can secure this country outside the traditional methods that have been used is to strengthen the local government. The quality of people who superintend, who preside over the day-to-day affairs of the local government must be people of impeccable character, must be people who have the interests of the local community at heart, people who are accountable. And for as long as the local governments are suffocated, strangulated, and made incapable of carrying out their function, then of course, these places become vulnerable to the vagaries of society. You've raised a very, very important issue. The paper presented today was a high-quality paper with recommendations, and I'm in total agreement with the submission. That will take care of a large chunk of the security issues we have today. But of course, this is a democracy. Unless the people understand and accept, they're able to realize the efficacy, the importance of the local government, and gravitate from the federal and state to the local government to give power to the people, because that is what democracy is all about, will continue to be in a political wheelchair. We had a press briefing with the chairman of the Independent National Election Commission about a week ago, and we emphasized the need for everybody to operate on a level playing field. One thing I can assure you is the president has given clear directives. The people's will must prevail. What happened in Anambra, Osun, and Ekiti is what we want to happen all over the country. Let the people choose their leader, whoever they want. Then later, they can decide. But in the process of selecting who governs them, we must be mindful of the fact that there are people who are hell-bent on forcing, on bullying, and cornering their opponents. It's not even a function of, numbers or a function of money. It's a big problem. It's a problem that's also linked with a complex. Because if you are really who you are, you don't need to hire thugs. If you cannot restrain your thugs, the government will do that for you. And you'll be called on the carpet and you'll answer questions. We have a lot of politicians, and I'm not being specific about any politician or party. This virus has to be contained. I have given a clear warning during the press conference that any politician who engages in any activity, any unpalatable activity, the use of thugs, and I know we have a lot of thugs, political thugs, straining at the leash, foaming at the mouth, desperate to bite and taste blood. But we're going to apply everything within the powers of the government. And I'm not saying that we're going to just operate in a manner that is not regulated. The government is not going to embark on anything that is, uncontrolled. We will operate on the straight and narrow, confining ourselves to legality. That I can assure you the president has given his directives, and we're working on that. So those elements who think they can deny other people the air to breathe, the political air to breathe and reach out to the local community should have another thing.